This podcast is part of the Michigan Sports and Entertainment Podcast Network. Go to michigansportsandentertainment.com for more great podcasts.
Hey guys, welcome to the Faves of Our Lives. I'm Kelly and your other host is Brittany.
Hey guys.
Today we have a very special guest who is our friend Laura.
Hi guys.
Get your puffy shirts on and pour yourself a bowl of cereal because today we're talking about Seinfeld.
All right. Seinfeld premiered July 5th, 1989, ran for 9 seasons and 180 episodes. The cast was Jerry Seinfeld as Jerry Seinfeld, Michael Richards as Cosmo Kramer, Jason Alexander as George Costanza, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Elaine Bennis. Jerry Seinfeld is a stand-up comedian whose life in New York City is made even more chaotic by his quirky group of friends who join him in wrestling with his life's most perplexing yet often trivial questions. Often described as a show about nothing, Seinfeld mines the humor in life's mundane situations like waiting in line, searching for a lost item, or the trials and tribulations of dating. The first episode we're going to be talking about is called The Chinese Restaurant. It's from Season 2, Episode 11. And without getting too much into the plot, the entire premise of this episode is George, Elaine, and Jerry are all going to a movie, and they decide to get dinner before the movie. So they go to a Chinese restaurant, and they're told that their wait will be 5 to 10 minutes, and they end up waiting the entire episode for their table, to the point that they end up just leaving. Kelly, do you want to start off talking about this episode?
Yeah, there's a lot in this episode that I think is really funny. So, first of all, payphones.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
We're not that young, so, we have all used payphones. But it's just funny, now in the world of cell phones, looking back to a show where they didn't have cell phones at all, not even flip phones. And it's just funny that, George is waiting to use the payphone, and this guy is, oblivious to the fact that he needs to use the phone, and he's just being rude. And also in my notes, I said that George is me whenever I'm inconvenienced by someone, because he says, look at his outfit. I hate it. I hate everything about him. But then later, the guy apologizes, and he's like, oh, it's fine.
He's, shaking his hand or something.
Yeah.
He just said...
Yeah, I'm the same way. I get really, really upset really quickly, but as soon as I'm apologized to, I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, you know what? It's cool.
They were the bigger person, and they apologized, so...
Yeah, they took that time.
But, when you don't like somebody and you're like, everything about them is stupid. Their outfit, their hair, their voice, everything.
Yeah, and I also like the reason that he was waiting for the phone. So he had to call his girlfriend, who he stopped having sex with her in the middle of having sex because he realized that he had to go to the bathroom. In her apartment, the way that it was set up, the bathroom was right next to the bedroom, and it didn't give him enough privacy to do that. So he was just like, I don't want you to take this personally, but I have to go. In the middle.
I mean, he could have totally said that.
Yeah, wouldn't you just be like, I have to go to the bathroom, and you don't want to be around
You don't want to be
it.
around. Yeah. I mean, what's so bad about that?
I mean, everybody goes to the bathroom.
Yeah. Or you know what? Act like you're nauseated or something and say,
Yeah,
oh man, I don't feel well.
I mean, come on. Don't be so lame about it.
Yeah, because I can imagine that woman probably was having a hard time with that.
Yeah, because I'm sure she thought it was her.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you not going to explain that?
But it still was a pretty funny situation for him.
It was.
That's true.
He said there wasn't a big enough buffer zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's right there.
I also thought that Elaine in this episode, she was extremely relatable too, because the exact same thing happened to me tonight when I was waiting on my Chinese food. I got really hangry.
Yeah, she lost it.
Yeah.
She's like, what in God's name is going on in here?
Well, because people kept coming in and going in immediately when they'd been waiting for I honestly don't know how long they were waiting for.
Right.
I
don't even know.
They were told 5 to 10 minutes, and it was more than 5 to 10 minutes.
And then, like, after 5 minutes, they ask again, and he's like, 5 to 10 minutes. Like, every time they ask, it's 5 to 10 minutes. It's like no time has passed. They're just, like, in a black hole.
Which, when I was watching this episode and he kept saying 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Every time that I place an order for Chinese food, that's the response that I get. But then I called today and placed the order, and he told me 15 minutes.
Yeah, like, I wish people would just be honest about that stuff. Like, today I got my oil changed, and this place always takes forever because it's a dealership. So, they don't care. They're getting paid by the hour. They don't care how long it takes. And they always tell me, like, oh, it'll be like an hour. It's like, just tell me the truth. Like, I don't care if it's going to take a long time, but don't tell me, like, a made-up time.
Right. I feel like I'm more pissed when you're lying to me about it.
Right. If
It's gonna be
take
just an
2
hour.
hours, just tell me it's going to be 2 hours.
Right. I'm with you.
Well, and I think the other thing was the way that this maitre d', or I think he was actually the owner of the place, I don't know, but he seemed like the people coming in were regulars, so he didn't really care too much about these 3 people who obviously don't go there as often.
I had that in my notes, too, because Elaine, that one guy, I don't remember what his name was, Mr. something.
Mr. Cohen. He lives on Park Avenue. It's like, what?
He comes in, and Elaine's like, I'm pretty sure we were here before him. And the maitre d' guy's like, oh, Mr. Cohen? No, he's always here. And Elaine's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I'd be pissed. Like, oh, there's no excuse for that.
While all of this is going on with Elaine and George, Jerry sees a woman sitting in the restaurant who it's driving him crazy. She looks so familiar. He knows that he knows her, but he can't place her. George and Elaine are no help. They don't know who she is or anything. And it ends up, it is a coworker of his uncle's who Jerry blew off to go to this movie. So he goes into this whole spiel of, oh my god, she's gonna go in and she's gonna tell my uncle that she saw me, and then he's gonna tell my mom.
He's like reeling.
I just kept thinking, this is a grown-ass man, and he's flipping out because he's gonna get a phone call from his mom.
Yeah, that's how family is, though. They're like, oh, they won't let it go. They're like, remember that time when you blew me off? It's like, no, I don't remember.
Jerry says, New York, Long Island, Florida, it's like the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Only no one gets lost.
Yeah, he's like, unfortunately, no one gets lost.
I just want to point out really quickly that we also have another special guest with us today.
Oh, yeah, Des?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's making little noises in the background. He's being pretty
He
good,
is being
though.
really good.
He wanted to be a part of it.
He's going through a mama's boy phase.
He's doing good.
Yeah, his little noises are cute. So, Elaine's complaining about being hungry, and she says something along the lines of, I'm so hungry I could just go take food off of someone's plate. And Jerry says, you know what? We're gonna make that a bet. $50, you walk up to that table, don't say anything, just pick up an egg roll, take a bite of it, walk away, $50. And so she decides she's gonna do it, and she walks up, and instead of just grabbing it, she does this ventriloquist act, basically. It was pretty impressive. And she tells them, the guys at the front, they're offering me $50 to take a bite of your egg roll, so I'm just gonna do that, okay? And they're like, what is she saying? And she just takes off running. She's so embarrassed.
Yeah, they're all obviously hard of hearing.
They're all like panicked.
And they're just like, what? What's she say? Yeah.
They're like, what? She's like, uh-oh, I'm out. I would have ate it.
Yeah.
They're already
I
panicking
would've
anyway,
too.
so just eat it.
Yeah. I would have just grabbed the entire egg roll.
I know, and like Jerry said, like, you're giving them a story.
Yeah, exactly.
What are they gonna care? They're just gonna be like, remember that time that crazy woman took that egg roll off my plate?
It was insane. I was so worried and scared.
I probably would have done
Right?
the same. Like, if someone came up and just grabbed an egg roll off of my plate, I would just look at them like, what?
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm gonna allow this to happen.
Once.
Once.
Yeah, don't come back again.
And only once, I guess.
Elaine, again, she's starving. She is wanting a table really badly. And she says, I used to date this man, and he used to slip him money, so we should just slip him $20. And I agree with George wholeheartedly on this. He was like, I'm not giving the guy $20. That's more than the meal. It's Chinese food. And she's like, come on, I'm hungry. Let's
Agreed.
It depends on how hungry I was.
Well, yeah, and she was starving. But she's like, come on. So they decide to split it. Elaine's paying $7, Jerry's paying $7, George is paying $6 because he's not eating very much. And she goes to slip the guy the 20, and I don't know, somewhere the lines got crossed, and he just thought that she was giving him $20. Because he pockets it and she walks away, and she was like, I told you it was a man's job.
Yeah, he just, like, takes it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
So then Jerry has to walk up and kind of try to backpedal, and he was like, I think that there's some type of miscommunication. My friend gave you a $20 bill, but I don't know even what ends up happening, but he just chalks it up to they just lost $20.
Yeah, probably not a good idea to bribe him anyway.
Probably
I mean,
not.
I didn't see that going too far anyway.
I'm sure it happens all the time at fancier places, but probably that place not very much.
Yeah.
Or they just needed Karen Walker to call and get them a reservation.
That's true. But I don't know. Like, is that the type of place that even does reservations?
I don't even know.
I don't
It's
know.
like Chinese.
Yeah.
It's like, is it even... I don't even know.
I feel
It's
like
like a
New
buffet.
York is like a whole different world, though.
That's true. I wouldn't know. But it just seems like if the typical wait is like 5 to 10 minutes,
Yeah, that's true.
although we learned that's not the typical wait. So George ends up calling his girlfriend and leaving a message because he misses her, and tells her to call him back at the Chinese restaurant. And he's waiting and waiting and waiting. He never receives a call, so he goes and he asks the maitre d', and the maitre d' says, yeah, I received a call for Cartwright. I yelled the name, nobody responded. And he was like, Cartwright, no, was it Costanza? And he said, yeah, Costanza. So she did call back, and he didn't give him the message, and it was just funny because the guy was also saying, yeah, there was a lot of cursing on the other end.
How is it the same at all? Like, at all.
It's not even close.
not even. But he knows Cohen, though, or whatever.
Yeah, Mr. Cohen.
And where he lives, and all that.
Basically, they end up deciding that they're not going to make the movie. So George says he's not in the mood for it anyway because of the whole Tatiana, that's his girlfriend, that whole situation. He is not in the mood to see a movie. Elaine says she's going to Sky Burger, I think she says.
Oh, yeah, she's starving.
That sounds good.
She
Yeah.
is done. She's had it.
She's going to Sky Burger, and she's not bothering with the movie, so Jerry's like, well, if you guys aren't going, I'm not going. I'm going to go to my uncle's, and they walk out the door, and as soon as they walk out the door, he says, Seinfeld, Party of Four, and I thought, of course he did. I always think that every time that I get fed up waiting on a table, I feel like as soon as I walk out the door, they're calling my name.
He totally watched them walk out, though.
Yeah,
Right, Adam. It was like, Seinfeld.
That's the other thing. Like, every time they go up to talk to him, he acts like that he has no idea who they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, I've never seen you guys. You haven't been here for like an hour, constantly bothering me.
Yeah, because when Jerry goes up after Elaine tries to bribe him, and he says, I think my friend made a mistake. And he said, what's the name? And he says, Seinfeld. And he looks in the book, and he says, oh, no, Seinfeld, Party of Four. And he was like, no, that's not what I meant. So, I mean, yeah, he definitely pretends that he hasn't seen them. And it's not a big area. He sees them standing right there.
Yeah, totally. They're right in front of him the whole time. Going, God, I'm hungry.
Yeah, maybe it's what Kelly was
Sorry.
talking about, where you just know you don't like someone, and they walked in, and that guy was like, you know what, I don't like their faces.
Yeah, they're bothering me.
But all in all, I thought that this was a really good episode. What I liked about this episode was, while I was researching the show, they were talking about how this episode almost didn't even get made because the network thought, who would want to watch a television show that is just about people waiting for a table at a Chinese restaurant? And
Yeah.
what I think is funny is not only was this considered like the first big hit of the show, this was our highest pulled episode.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's like all in one background,
Yeah.
like set, I guess.
Right,
Yeah, and
right.
this episode and the next one we're going to talk about kind of highlights what I think is so great about this show is there's so many stories working together, but they're all in
and it
one
comes
place.
to a resolve. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's not even like they have to cut away for each story because they're all in the same place, but they're all going through different things. Elaine is starving. George is freaking out about his girlfriend. Jerry is scared that his mom's going to end up calling him because he blew his uncle off. They're all at the restaurant. They're all wanting to eat and go to the movie, but it's like all of these separate yet... I don't know how to put it.
It's like they're layered together. Like, literally,
Yeah.
it's like chained together, layered together, just events. And all hilarious.
I feel like every episode is like that, and I just think that's what makes the show so genius.
Yep, I agree. I think that's why I'm so entertained by it, and I keep watching it. Like, I literally keep watching it all the time.
Well, and I know that everybody has their favorite characters, but it's hard for me to choose a favorite character of this show because I feel like each character brings their own, like, importance to the show.
Yeah, my favorite is Kramer, though.
Yeah.
He's not even in this episode.
No, he's not. I noticed that, too.
He's just so extra, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I like George. Just because he's
Yeah.
so relatable. Like, everything he feels, I've felt before.
I'm kind of the same way. I like Elaine, but George definitely, like, he is the most relatable.
He cracks me up. It's like, yeah, I call that one. Yeah, he's gonna pay $6. Yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it was, yeah.
Well, he didn't want to pay in the first place, so it makes sense.
He
that
was like, what?
He was like, Elaine, why don't you just pay it all? He didn't say that, but you know he was thinking it.
Totally. He did not want any of that.
Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
Oh, there was something that was funny that I wrote in my notes. When they were waiting towards the beginning of the episode, Jerry says something to Elaine like, I offered you food, a snack at my apartment. And she says, yeah, health cookies. They're like dustboard fructose things.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Ugh.
I
It's like
get
gluten-free or something. Gluten-free cookies.
My friend and I always got made fun of by our mutual friend because we would always eat shredded wheat with cheese cubes, and he would always say, why do you eat cardboard squares? And that really is what they tasted like.
I eat frosted mini wheat, and that's like the same thing.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, is that not the same thing? Because I'm pretty sure it's just frosted.
It's not quite, because the ones that we ate were super packed. Like, frosted mini wheats are kind of fluffy,
Mm-hmm.
and these were packed more like a Triscuit, kind of, but with less
Okay, yeah.
flavor.
It's like weaved.
It was like the generic brand of,
Woven cardboard fibers.
woven
Woven.
cardboard. It probably was. We didn't look at the ingredients. We just assumed it was wheat. It was probably like 10% wheat, 90% cardboard.
Right? You're like, what is this? What am I eating? I guess I should probably check.
I never do. I
don't
never
really
look at
check.
ingredients.
I don't either. I probably should. That's horrible. Why am I admitting that?
And I think that it's weird because, like, we all work in food safety, but I never look.
Well, I feel like it's very confusing. Like, you look at the ingredients and half of them you don't know what they are, and the ones that you do know aren't good for you, so...
And some of the stuff you think is bad for you might not be as bad, but it's just like, there's just so many things that are just blown up. Especially on Facebook and
Yeah.
social media and stuff, so...
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's like the whole, this has chemicals in it. Everything is made up of chemicals.
Right,
Yeah.
we're made up of
Water's
chemicals.
a chemical.
We have chemicals
And if you
in
drink
us.
too much water, you can die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not enough.
Yeah. And so I guess everything in moderation is the lesson.
There you go. Make
I
sure you're
guess.
diluted enough with of the bad ones, I guess.
Except for rum
Exactly.
And wine.
and
I can
wine.
agree with
Fermented
that.
grapes.
I think that's a tune we can all dance to.
Yep. Alright, so the next episode we're talking about is called The Hamptons. It's from Season 5, Episode 21. And this involves the entire gang going to the Hamptons. They are meeting some friends who have just had a baby. It's the first time that they're seeing the baby. Jerry has his girlfriend who is meeting him after being there. George is driving up with his girlfriend with the intention of having sex with her. Elaine is going because, as I said, these friends are mutual friends of hers and Jerry's. Kramer is going just because he's Kramer and he tags along everywhere. And basically, a whole bunch of hijinks happens. George's girlfriend waltzes around topless. Jerry's girlfriend walks in on George after he's been in the pool, and we'll get into that later. Kramer finds lobsters in the ocean that he cooks for everybody, and the baby is so ugly that Jerry and Elaine cannot stand it.
They're like dry heaving at one point, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that poor baby.
So, I loved at the beginning of this episode when they're all driving up, George is in the car with his girlfriend, and he keeps talking about how he wants to grab her boob and how it's inappropriate right now, but after that night, it'll be fine for him to do it because they will have had sex. And he just thinks that it's weird that right now she would stop the car and run screaming, but it would be completely acceptable tomorrow. And I thought, I never really thought about that.
Right, that's hilarious, though. He's thinking that while she's driving.
Right.
If I grabbed her boob right now, she'd be pissed. It's like, yeah.
Well, and they're just having some weird conversation about cough syrups.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like,
Mhm.
what? You guys are, like, abusing cough syrup together?
Well, and I know that all of us could use some cough syrup right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to edit.
Yes. Oh
I'm
my
going to be
gosh.
editing all of our coughs out.
Just
Yeah, I
leave it in.
know.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
Listen, we live in Ohio, and the weather here has sucked lately. We are all sick.
It's no joke. I've never seen so
We
many
just
sick
keep
people.
passing it around.
Yeah.
I really
I
think
called the
that's true.
doctor the other day, and I was like, look, my kid has the flu, and he coughs basically directly into my face, so I know I'm going to get it. Can I get anything preventative? And she was like, I'm looking at your history, and it seems like you've been sick a lot lately. And it's like, yeah, bitch, because I'm around all of these other sick people. I can't
And they
help
don't
it.
care either.
Your
They
toddler
don't choose to do
Is
anything
like
about it.
licking your eyeball.
Yeah.
Toddlers are weird, dude.
They are. And then she's acting like I'm some kind of weird drug addict that just wants antibiotics, I guess.
Because those are fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they make you nauseous.
Ugh. It just drove me crazy. It was like, what are you trying to imply? Also, she tried to sell me a book, and I wanted to be like, are you the author? Did you write this book? What are you getting out of
Because
this?
you're really pushing it.
Yeah.
Pushing this book on me.
Do you have a pen somewhere with the author's name on it that you got? And
Was
I don't
this
know.
the real
She gets a
doctor or
cut.
the MD live?
yeah, this was the teledoctor.
And she was trying to sell you
okay.
a book?
She was trying to sell me a book, and then she was gonna send me an
What?
email with
It doesn't cost by the minute, does it?
I have
think
no
so.
idea. That's a good point. But no, she was like, I'm going to email you all these vitamins. I want you to go and do this because, antibiotics make you obese. And I was like, well, have you looked at my chart? Like, I don't have a fear of being obese, but
Wow.
I don't know.
That's
That's
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, don't get me wrong. She was a very, very nice woman, and I did feel like she had my best interest at heart. So I really feel bad making fun of her.
I feel like
but it was a little over the top.
She was trying to be like your life coach or something.
Maybe, and if she wants to be, that's fine. But all I'm looking for is some Tamiflu.
Right, I'm sick right now.
Yeah.
I wish she could see you in real life so she would see how ridiculous of a claim that was.
Right.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Look at me, yeah. You could be obese from all of these antibiotics.
Wow. That's a real threat for you. Better watch out.
So they get to the Hamptons. They're laying out. I loved the conversation between Kramer and Jerry because Kramer says, Jerry, rub some lotion on my back. And Jerry says, who are you, Mrs. Robinson? Kramer says, come on, man, I'll rub some on your back after you're done. And he said, this is not sweetening the pot for me.
Yeah, it's like, why did he even ask? It's like, duh. He knows response.
It seems like it's kind of like a common thing with women. Like, we don't mind doing that for each other, but it is a little weird to see men doing it, and I don't know why.
I don't either. I think it's just, like, fear-based, you know?
Or maybe it's just because it's not a typical thing that you see because of the way that they are.
Yeah, like, they're like, oh no, I'm afraid somebody's gonna see me being weird or whatever. Out of the norm.
So, George is obsessed with Hampton tomatoes. And I can't remember who he's getting them for, his mother or his grandmother, I don't know. But he has to go get these Hampton tomatoes, and he asks his girlfriend if she wants to go, and she says no, she's going to stay and swim. And the other three are sitting on the deck as his girlfriend is swimming, and he's off picking tomatoes. And I think that it's Jerry says, hold on a second, because I'm pretty sure that George's girlfriend... Hold on, my cat just tried to kill herself, I think.
Is she okay?
She's fine.
Okay.
Jerry said, I think that George's girlfriend is topless right now. So they all look and they're like, yep, she is. And this woman walks out of the pool just completely topless. There's a little bit of side boob action even that I can't believe that they showed on national television at that time.
Risque.
Elaine and Kramer both had really funny reactions because Elaine wouldn't even look. And Kramer just stared.
Yeah, he totally did. He, like, didn't even blink. It's like, of course.
No, and she was like, can I get anybody a drink? And Elaine's like, no, and Jerry says, no, I don't think so. Kramer didn't even talk because he's too busy staring. And she walks in, and he just says, okay, show's over, and walks away.
Yeah, and it's like, man, did she discuss that with George before she just walked around in front of everybody when he left?
Yeah, I would be pissed off.
Yeah,
I know that it's her body and everything, but when you're in a relationship with someone, I still think that you need to have that conversation.
Yeah, it's like a respect thing, because people are going to be like, oh.
Because it obviously affects George, because he freaks out because everyone has seen his girlfriend naked, and he even says to... Well, she's not naked, but he even says to Jerry, at any point you can picture my girlfriend naked, and Jerry says, oh, well, yeah, now that you mention it.
I mean, it wasn't like a nude beach or anything, or a topless beach, was it?
No, they were just at this house.
She was just topless.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, everyone, I forgot to watch this episode.
Yeah, she was topless. It was off. They were out.
Kramer is kind of a perv, though, because on the episode that I watched instead of this episode, he was spying on a naked girl across the road from their apartment.
Yeah, he is, but I also want to say, at the risk of sounding like I'm assuming that this is all men, but, like, I grew up in a family of mostly boys. All of my cousins, except for one, is a boy. Or was a boy. They're a man now, obviously.
Was a boy.
Like, I know how they were growing up, and I feel like that's just typical. Like, if there's a naked woman standing in front of a window, they're gonna look.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like most people would look, you know,
Yeah.
just in general.
That's true.
Everybody's secretly a pervert. That's just human nature.
That's true.
Secret.
Yeah, and I think that, like, there's an extent to that. Like,
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
Right. But obviously, like, you don't act on anything. You don't stalk them, touch them, anything like that. But I just feel like, and like I said, maybe I'm putting myself at risk here, but if you're standing in front of an open window with no blinds or anything and you're naked, I feel like you're kind of, like, you have
That's
some
true.
amount of expectation that someone's going to see you.
yeah, that's on you if you're doing that, which Chad does that all the time. Like, he gets out of the shower and, like, he does not take his clothes in there with him or wear a towel. He just goes in his birthday suit
Yeah.
His birthdays.
to get his jammies. And I'm like, it'll be a nice day, and I'll be like, the blinds are open. It's sunny outside. It'll be like, oh,
He's
well.
like, that's someone else's problem.
That's their
It's
problem.
not my
Like,
problem.
I don't care if they're looking at me. That's fine.
Well,
Like, all right.
that's cool.
See, I'm extremely lucky because our bathroom is on the second floor, and a lot of the houses around me are not 2 stories. So, if, like, I forget my towel or something, I don't freak out that someone's gonna see me because they're not. My bathroom's in the middle of my house. I'm not even close to a window, and I'm on the second story.
Yeah.
It's helpful. So, while George is out, Jerry and Elaine are invited into the nursery to see this baby. And this baby, apparently, is hideous based on their faces. We never see the baby, but they are disgusted by this baby. Elaine's really excited to see it, initially. And then she looks in and she's like, oh, yeah, he's gorgeous.
Yeah, man, they, like, leave the room, and it's like they almost vomit. It's that bad.
Seriously.
Ugly babies are a tricky subject.
The baby is ugly. Yeah, that's a definite lie. That's a must-lie situation.
You cannot tell somebody their baby's ugly, and if you are the parent of that child, you will never know if that baby is ugly, because in your eyes, that baby is the most precious thing.
Right.
No one's gonna tell that mother. She's forever gonna know that her baby's beautiful.
But, like, I mean, I look at pictures of when I was a baby, and I'm like, ooh. And I'm sure that my mom
Really?
was like, oh my god, you're so
Ugh.
beautiful. Like, you know how moms are.
Oh, like she genuinely does think you're beautiful, like in her
I'm
eyes.
sure she did when I was born, but I look back on it and I'm like, ew.
Yeah, I feel like I was hit, but my parents like cut my hair crazy to the point where it just looked bad. That's why I was hit as a child.
I think that's just like the era that we grew up in.
Yeah,
The
we
haircut
got
was
the
like,
awkward phase
yeah.
always.
When I was a baby, I didn't have hair, except for like 2 strands, and my mom was convinced that I needed bows in my hair, and so she would like lick her fingers and stick up the 2 strands of hair that I had and put a bow in it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then when I got older and I actually had hair, it was really, really thick, still is to this day. And she used to cut my bangs for me instead of, like, taking me to a beautician every 2 weeks, it seemed like, to get it done. Sometimes they were so uneven. I mean, bless your heart, Mom, but come on.
Oh my god.
Right? It's like, I appreciate things you did for me.
I cut my boys' hair. They're probably going to say that about me when they're old.
No, I think the boys' hair looks good,
I
and
think
I think
your
that
boys
boys'
look
hair
cute.
is easier.
Yeah, they are easier.
But maybe that's something that I'll do for our Patreon subscribers. I will post baby pictures. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So everyone can see.
I look like a cone head. And I didn't even go through the birth canal, so I don't know why I look like a cone head.
You just look like
They just
a
couldn't
donut.
grab onto you.
It's just the natural shape of my head, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so also while George is out, Kramer decides he's going to go to the beach. And he gets into a whole bunch of stuff. At one point, he's on the chair with the lifeguard teaching people how to swim, and the cop has to kick him out. He eventually walks down the beach, and he just follows this rope. And the rope is attached to a trap that has a shit ton of lobsters in it. And for whatever reason, Kramer is like, holy shit, lobsters, I'm going to take these back and fix dinner for everybody. I don't know why he assumes that this is just, like, it's something in nature that he has come across, and these are his lobsters.
Right.
Yeah.
He put them out there, apparently.
So, George comes back from picking tomatoes, and Jerry isn't going to tell him anything about seeing his girlfriend half naked, but Kramer comes back, and he's like, look at all the lobsters that I found, and George is like, oh my god, this is an amazing day. And Kramer's like, yeah, it is. I mean, look at all these lobsters, and I got to see your girlfriend's boobs. And he's immediately like, what? And so Jerry ends up telling him, and that's when he gets really upset, and he was like, no, now you can picture my girlfriend naked anytime you want. And Jerry's like, you know what? Yeah, I absolutely could. And George decides that the only way to make this even is to see Jerry's girlfriend's boobs.
He's such a creep.
Yeah, Jerry, of course, is actually a good guy, and he was like, no, I'm not agreeing to this. Like, it's not my place to agree to this. It's not happening. So George just tries to kind of sneak his way in. At one point, Elaine's in there talking to them, and Jerry's girlfriend says that she's going to change. And when Elaine walks out, she tells George, don't go in there, because Rachel, I think is her name, Rachel, is changing. And he was like, oh, okay, but he turns around and he goes right back in. And she's like, what the hell, George? Don't you knock? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. But Jerry obviously knows what he was
going
doing.
on,
And kind of gets on to him a little bit. But immediately following that, George goes into another room and starts to change. And Jerry's girlfriend walks in on him and actually catches him. And she says that she's sorry, but then she starts laughing. And George realizes that his member, we'll call it his member, has shrank because he was in the cold pool.
He's like screaming it. He's like, no!
Yeah, this is one of the scenes that even before we rewatched, it's been a long time since I watched Seinfeld, and I always remember this scene. Always. I think that this was the scene that kind of educated women on shrinkage.
Right. Like, I was wondering, is this like a well-known thing for women?
I don't know that it was before this. I mean, I think that it is now.
Is it part of sex ed now?
Yeah, I'm sure that it's not.
I don't think sex ed is a part of sex ed.
Right.
That's
do
true.
they do that anymore? I wonder. I don't have kids, so I don't know.
I don't know. One of my favorite lines, though, and this is why I love Elaine so much, is she comes in, and George is like, Elaine, do you know about shrinkage? And she says, what do you mean, like laundry? And so, obviously, he knows, no, this is not common knowledge to women. Jerry says, no, it's like what happens to a man when he's in cold water. Shrinkage. Elaine says, it shrinks? I don't know how you guys walk around with those things. And I think that a lot of women feel that way.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then again, we walk around with boobs.
Yeah, those are a hassle.
At least they don't have to wear like a penis bra.
Mm-hmm. Banana hammock.
Yeah.
Oh.
We should invent that for men. It has a wire, like a bra, so they can feel how torturous it is every day to be a woman.
Pokes them in the ball sack
Yeah.
periodically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same.
I feel like women always get the short end of the stick.
I feel that way too, but we are women, so we're gonna feel that
Yeah,
way.
I feel like I'm
That's true.
biased, but still.
I worked with this older gentleman, we will say that, at one point, and he came in to work one day, and he was walking really funny, and I asked him, I just said, you know, dude, what's going on? You act like you're hurting. And since he was older, I assumed he, like, hurt his back or knee or something like that. And he was like, no, I was mowing the other day, and something happened, and I sat down on the mower seat, and I sat on my ball sack.
He just candidly said it. He's like, you know, my ball sack.
Oh my god. Was this someone at your current job?
No.
It's not? Oh, I thought I knew
not
who
anybody
it
at my...
was.
I thought I knew who.
Yeah, I thought I knew.
No.
She's like dying
But-
now.
I could see
killed
that
her.
person saying that.
I know. Oh, man.
No, but I just thought, you know, I never even thought about that being a thing.
What, sitting on the ball sack?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like I always just kind of assumed that it just naturally went to the front.
They complain a lot about it.
It never, like, migrated back there anywhere.
Well, I mean, I guess the older you get, the saggier it gets.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know
this
either.
is just an assumption I would assume.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, I mean, everything else does that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gravity.
Gravity and all.
Fucking gravity.
So, Kramer comes back with the lobsters. He's gonna cook them. Jerry and Elaine's friend, who, the male friend, says that his dad used to catch lobsters, and that's how he put him through college, and that poaching these lobsters was not okay. And Kramer just basically ignores him and cooks them anyway. They're sitting at the dinner table talking about how great the lobsters are. George is sitting in this really tight pink shirt talking about how cold water makes things shrink because he's trying to educate the women on shrinkage.
Yeah, he's just on it still.
And Elaine leans over and says, "Oh, tell us more." You see Jerry's girlfriend whispering to George's girlfriend, and it ends up that she tells George's girlfriend about this. And in a complete dick move, George's girlfriend decides to pack up in the middle of the night and leave to drive all the way back to New York City. And it's like, really?
Oh my God. It's hilarious, though, because it's like literally right after she was told. And then, I don't know who said it. They were like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. She's not going to care. And she's like literally leaving as they're saying that.
And honestly, you know, sometimes women can be just as superficial as men.
Oh, totally. If not more.
I feel like in that instance, maybe she shouldn't have taken basically a stranger's word for it.
Yeah, I don't know how well they know each other.
And it seemed like Jerry's girlfriend and George didn't really have the greatest relationship with each other to begin with, so wouldn't you have thought, well, maybe she's not being entirely truthful?
Right, it's like, how do you know this? Right, how much do these people know each other?
Yeah.
It's like, man. And it's like, did George ever confront Jane for going topless? Ever? Like, was that ever?
I can't remember that. I don't know.
It's like, I'd be bitching about that.
I was going to say something, but I think it's too inappropriate.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, plus, like, she doesn't really know what it's going to be like when it's, you know,
Yeah.
ready to go.
It could be a grower, not a shower.
A grower, not a shower.
Right.
It's the motion of the ocean, or whatever
Yeah,
that
that too.
saying is. Yeah, that's the saying.
Don't be so superficial, ladies.
Don't
Give
judge
them
a book
chance.
by its cover.
Leaving in the middle of the night. That's crazy. That's fuck.
I
oh
mean,
man,
now,
that's
if
hilarious.
he was an a-hole to you and you left in the middle of the night, fine. Like, that, good job.
Right, good for you. But in this situation, damn. Really?
She just, I think he dodged a bullet, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, totally.
Oh, I totally forgot about the side story of Elaine and this pediatrician for the baby. The pediatrician is talking to Elaine, and he tells her something about he doesn't see it being any problem of her having a baby at some point because she's a breathtaking woman, and she's so flattered by it. And the mom is at the same time talking about the baby, and he calls the baby breathtaking, and so Elaine's like, wait a second.
Her face is priceless. She's like, what did you say?
Yeah, so in the middle of the night, Jerry's girlfriend sneaks out to get lobster because everybody enjoyed this lobster at dinner. She didn't eat any because it's not kosher. And she sees Kramer eating it, and Kramer's like, I'm not going to let you have this because you will regret it for the rest of your life. So the next morning, they're all sitting around, they're eating eggs. George just made everyone breakfast, and they're all talking about how great the eggs are. Jerry's girlfriend comes in and thanks Kramer for not letting her eat the lobster because he was right. She would regret it for the rest of her life. George serves her the eggs. She tells him how great the eggs are, and he says, oh, well, you might want to wear this lobster bib while you eat it.
She totally deserved it, though.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way, too. Which I don't know because I don't know the whole, like, religious background for kosher. Like, how big of a deal it is. I don't want to assume that, oh, well, it's a minimal thing that she ate a little bit of lobster one time in her life.
I think they're literally not allowed to have shellfish.
Oh, I thought it was, like, animal products, but I don't know because when you're Catholic, seafood doesn't count as animal products, so...
Right. Exactly.
I don't know. That's weird.
It is.
Yeah, I'm not
weird.
sure either.
We'll have to ask our source.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was wondering if anybody listening would know.
Because I feel like some pepperoni is not kosher.
Wouldn't all pepperoni not be kosher? Well, I don't know. Because they can eat meat. So...
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe, is it pork? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I'm really
See, I'm not
confused
sure.
right now. Somebody let us know on Twitter.
Okay, this says, since Jewish law prohibits causing any pain to animals, the slaughtering has to be effected in such a way that unconsciousness is instantaneous and death occurs almost instantaneously. Lobsters obviously do not apply to that.
Yeah, because you steam them, right?
Yeah, like you boil them alive.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why it's not kosher.
Okay. If that's wrong, anybody on Twitter that wants to educate us, we're here for it.
The funny thing is, we actually do know a little bit about kosher things, but...
Yeah.
But it's like the dairy side of it.
Right. Yeah, we don't work with meat specifically. Some of our product has, like, beef gelatin and, yeah, so...
Lobster is not kosher. Oh! Laura's right. Jewish scriptures prohibit eating all shellfish. How'd you know that, Laura?
I just know. I have no idea.
She's just that smart.
I just randomly know facts. Pick them up along
It says,
the way.
though, a lot of Jewish Mainers, people from Maine, eat lobster, even though they would never eat pork, another forbidden food. So I guess you can make an exception if you live in Maine. I don't know.
I guess.
That's cool.
Des sounds like he's having so much
He's
fun.
just running around right now.
I'm glad you let him be a part of this.
Well, it was either that or listen to him scream in the background, so...
Yeah, this is cute.
I'm glad everybody's feeling better, though. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was getting bad.
Yeah, so George ends up eventually walking in on Jerry's girlfriend and seeing her naked. So on the ride home, she refuses to ride with them. Elaine makes the comment to George, well, if you've seen me naked, I wouldn't want to ride in a car with you either. And they end up stopping at a tomato stand, and someone says, oh, look, there's Rachel. And George says, where? And she throws a tomato and hits him in the face, and that ends the episode.
I feel like it would be really satisfying to throw a tomato at somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like his favorite tomato, too. It's all over his face.
Have you seen the episode of Family Guy where Mayor West gets hit in the face with a brick and he starts bleeding and he sees the blood and he's like, oh my god, I'm a tomato.
I haven't
he
seen
thinks
that.
it's ketchup. I think that's so
He's
funny for
crazy.
some reason.
I do like that show.
I love that show. That's a classic.
One of my favorite episodes is one that has Kelly's favorite song in it.
Africa?
I'm
Yes.
trying
I
to
do
think
like
which
that
one. Because
episode.
I think they use that one a lot. They use
Do
that
they?
song
They
a
go
lot,
to
I
the
think.
strip club or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Joe's
yeah.
at a strip club and they're playing Africa by Toto.
The best song in the world.
I also want to point out that when they're driving back to New York City, Kramer is not in the car with them. And I find that really strange because I'm pretty sure that the two people that they went to stay with are Jerry and Elaine's friends. So where is Kramer?
Right, is he still there? It's like, where is he at? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no, I remember. He's picking up trash on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
The cops show up.
For his community service.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
The
right.
cops show up and they fine him $1,000 and he has to do community service because he poached the lobsters. Okay. Sorry, forgot about that. That rum and coke was a tall one.
He was a fool for that.
Yep.
But it was some good
It's
lobster.
probably worth it. Well, not the $1,000 fine because you could have bought it for cheaper. But
I'm sure everybody else was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the next episode we're going to talk about is called The Soup Nazi. It's from Season 7, Episode 6. This is one that I don't want to say that it was Laura's favorite, but it was one that she picked. She, like everybody else, had a really hard time picking an episode because this show is one of those shows where you end up liking specific moments instead of specific episodes. But we felt like The Soup Nazi was pretty iconic, so we went ahead and went with this one. And this episode, there's a bunch of stuff going on, but the main thing that they focus around is there's this soup shop, and the owner, who makes this amazing soup, has a very specific way in which you have to order. You walk up, You hand them the money, you say the soup, you step to the left, and you get your soup, and you walk out. That's it. Any conversation, anything, any questions, he will not give you the soup. You will miss out. And so that's why they call him the soup Nazi. So they all decide to go visit this soup stand because Kramer has talked about how great it is. I think at this point Jerry has had some of the soup. And Jerry is really nervous about getting this soup. George doesn't seem to care too much because he doesn't understand the severity of this guy's personality. Elaine ends up not going at all this time because she sees an armoire sitting on the side of the road that some guy is selling for like $200. Well, I think it was $250.
She has a nice face.
Yeah, she has a nice face, so she got it for $200.
Heck yeah, nice face discount.
So George ends up not getting his soup because I think what he does is he comments that there's no bread.
Yeah.
And he has the bag in his hand and says that there's no bread, and the guy says, "No soup for you." And the woman just grabs the bag back from him, and he has to leave with no soup.
When he says there's no bread, Jerry's like, just drop it. It's not a big deal.
Just drop it.
I have bread at home. Yeah, and this soup is so good that Jerry tells everybody that they need to sit down when they eat it because their knees will buckle. Now, I don't know, Laura, I see in your notes you said you've had some pretty good soup that does that. I have not had homemade soup that's been that good.
My grandma made some turkey. It was like a turkey vegetable soup when I was younger, and oh my gosh, man. I don't know if it's just because she got it, like she roasted the turkey and then put it in there, but it was amazing. It was amazing. It's the best soup I've ever had to this day. She's amazing. I love you.
I might take that back. My mother-in-law makes, she calls it vegetable soup, but she puts like meatballs of Italian sausage and stuff in it with cornbread. That's really good.
Oh yeah, cornbread.
So I might
with
take
it,
that back.
My mom and my grandma, I think it's my grandma's recipe that my mom uses. They make a really good vegetable soup too.
I love soup. I've always loved soup, so.
I like soup. Don't get me wrong.
Does like soup.
I hear. So cute. So Elaine ends up getting the armoire back to her apartment, and I think it's her landlord tells her, "Sorry, Elaine, it's Sunday. You're not allowed to move anything in." And so she has to leave the armoire out on the street. And Kramer offers to sit on the street with it, which I thought was really sweet.
Yeah, I know. He went out of his way to do that, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is Kramer's personality of the show. He is crazy as hell, but he really is a sweet guy, just like in the last episode. He brought everybody lobsters. Granted, they weren't his to give.
Right, he is very generous. Even when it's not his to give. But still, very generous.
I definitely would not do that. I'd be like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, and he steals one of Jerry's couch cushions because it's thicker than his.
He doesn't even say anything. He just walks in, picks it up, and goes, uh-huh, and then leaves.
Right, to sit on the stoop.
Yeah, and when he comes through that door, there had to have been, like, while recording, a mark on that set for Jerry's girlfriend to be standing because he would have hit one of them with that door. He comes in so fast and so hard. That's what she said.
You beat me to it.
I was slow at that one. I was like, wait, what? But yeah, he swings that door. I'm surprised. I don't even think it's the same door. They have to, like, break it at one point. He swings it so hard.
Yeah. Is that in your random facts?
No.
Okay, because I read a fact somewhere today that door had to be replaced. I forget how many times, but...
Yeah, that's not surprising in any way. I wonder how many times.
I don't know.
A couple times, I bet.
It might have been on the Seen It cards I was reading.
Oh, yeah. Kelly has a Seinfeld Seen It trivia game, and apparently she's going to quiz us in a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I pulled out some for the episodes that we watched, but they're pretty easy. You guys will get them.
Kramer is sitting on the stoop of Elaine's apartment building, and he is guarding this armoire while Elaine goes to get the soup from the soup Nazi, and she is completely unprepared. While she is getting the soup, or trying to get the soup, these two guys come up, and they're just like, oh, I like this armoire, we're taking it. And Kramer tells them, no, that's my friend's armoire. And this guy gets in his face, and he is pretty intimidating about it. And he was like, listen, we're taking this armoire. Kramer's just like, okay. And lets him take it. Which I don't understand at all. Maybe this is a New York thing. Again, we're from, like, smaller areas. But why is it just common for someone to walk up and be like, this is mine now?
Right? They're, like, bullying him.
Yeah.
Are you talking to me? It's like, jeez, just take it then. And it's crazy because it's like sometimes Kramer can hold his own, and then other times he's like, just, he just backs down. He's like, I'm not doing this. He gets all scared.
Yeah, I'll give him that he is by himself, and there's two of them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's two of them.
But the other guy is trying to talk the one down, so I think he's pretty
Right.
timid that he probably wouldn't do too much. You still don't know, though.
think so.
It is New York. Maybe they have knives.
That's true. That's true.
In the Chinese food episode, when that guy won't get off the phone, George goes to Jerry and he's like, hey, if something goes down here, you got my back, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
Right? Is it like that? Are they trying
guess
to
it's
portray that?
It's a common thing to just have a brawl.
New York state of mind.
Yeah, they just brawl out there.
So, Elaine is at the soup shop. We'll call it that. I don't want to call it a soup kitchen, because isn't that... Yeah. So...
Right.
Anyway, the soup restaurant, and she's trying to order this soup, and she is doing it all wrong. She obviously did not listen to anything. She walks up, and she's, like, drumming her hands on the counter, and she's lollygagging. She doesn't know what kind of soup she wants. She's making small talk with the guy, and the guy bans her for a year.
That's a hefty fine.
And she's not as upset right away, but George is also there, and George gets his soup and gives her a bite, which I don't know why she would... Why would you take a bite? Why would you want to know what you're missing?
Right.
If you know that you're not going to get it, I would just be like, no thanks.
No thanks. I'm good.
I'm good.
It's like, I don't want to taste because then I'll be sad.
And it obviously is good because she has to sit down.
Yeah.
So she gets back to Kramer. She does not have his soup. He's really sad about it because he also was just bullied. He's like, I'm sorry, I was robbed and you don't have my soup, and he just leaves.
Right. I felt really bad for him, too.
I did,
'cause
too.
It's like, man, he literally went through all that and nothing.
And he didn't get his soup.
Right.
But he ends up going and he's talking to the soup Nazi, which I can't remember his name. He has an actual
I'm not
name.
sure.
Yev Kasim.
Yev. Okay. That's
And
right.
so he goes to him because he likes the guy. He doesn't like that people call him the soup Nazi because he thinks he's a good guy. And he's explaining the entire situation to him. And the owner says, well, I have an armoire in my basement that you can just have. And so Kramer takes it and takes it to Elaine, and she's just thrilled with it. And she says, where did you get it? And he said, well, I got it from the guy that you guys so callously call the soup Nazi. And so she decides she's going to go down there. She's going to thank him. And when she thanks him, he says something along the lines of, well, if I would have known it was from you, I would have taken an axe to it.
He's like, hell no. You ain't getting this. And it's beautiful, too.
Oh, yeah. I think that it was
It's like,
prettier
oh,
than the
man.
one that she originally bought.
I think so, too. It was gorgeous. And of course, he's a straight ass to her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah.
Also, I forgot, I really like when she sees the armoire and she's so excited and she hits Kramer and he falls backwards through that door.
Yeah. No way, get out.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
That was cute. She always does that shit.
So she comes back to the apartment. She's talking to Jerry about how mean this guy was to her. And she's going through the armoire and she finds recipes. And they're recipes for soup. And she realizes
Dun,
this
dun,
was his
dun.
armoire. And she now has all of these recipes of his. and she is going to take him
It's like
down.
flooding her mind, yeah. She's like...
And Jerry is begging her, please don't do this, please don't do this. It's the best soup restaurant.
Let the man make his soup.
That's what he says, let the man make his soup. But, again, I completely relate to Elaine on this. I would have done the same thing. It's kind of a, don't cross me, I will ruin you.
Yeah, it's like he could have totally been like, alright, I'm sorry I was an ass. Let's work something out here.
Right, because the bottom line was, what did she do that was so wrong?
Yeah, she just was tapping and, like, just being annoying to him.
She was being annoying.
Yeah, totally.
But she wasn't being
She didn't
mean.
respect the ordering guidelines.
Yeah, she didn't respect his authority. That's exactly what it was.
There was a sign that said, have your cash ready and know your soup.
Yeah, but it says that
Dang.
at McDonald's when you pull up, too. Have your payment ready at the window. How often
Right.
does that happen?
Chad would definitely not get his soup because he will be the person. He goes to McDonald's, okay? We've all been to McDonald's. We know what the F they have,
Yep.
okay? He will pull up to the window and be like, what kind of coffee do you have? And I'm just like, are you serious right now? There's people behind you. Like, just order your freaking coffee.
Yeah, my dad always said that to my mom. We would get to the menu and she'd say, I don't know what I want. And he's like, they literally have the same thing every time we're here. Why do you have to look at the menu?
Right. I always get the same thing usually anyway.
Me too. The episode ends with Elaine going to him, telling him that she has these recipes. He ends up deciding that he's going to sell this soup by the pot before she releases all of this. He's going out of business. He's going back to, I think it was Argentina, is where he was from.
That's crazy.
And so Newman and Jerry are, like, booking it to go get the last of this soup, and that's how the episode ends.
Now he makes another, he's in the last episode, is it? Like, ever
I
recorded?
think so.
I think so because
When
they
they're
have,
on
like,
the stand?
all these character witnesses.
Yeah, the witnesses.
Yeah. Well, and he was based on a real person, too.
Oh, really?
didn't know.
Yeah, there
I
was
didn't
a
know that.
restaurant in New York, and I don't know if it was Jerry Seinfeld or Larry David, because the two kind of, like, mixed a little bit of their experiences into... Actually, I think all the writers did. But, yeah, so I'm not sure which it was, but there was a restaurant in New York City that the owner was kind of like that, and so I think they embellished it a little bit, but there was an
That's
actual guy
funny.
that was based on.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I
That
wonder
makes it
if,
even
like,
funnier.
New Yorkers caught that. Like, they were like, oh, I know exactly who that is.
Calling the suit Nazi, I wonder. I don't know.
I'm Kyle.
This is Steven.
Together we host a show called
Boar Meets World.
Tell them what we cover on Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
But that's not all, is it?
No.
No, we cover life experiences. Ours. Oh, son of a. Alright, just check out the show, please. We really need it. Okay? We need a win. Just check us out. We talk about the show Boy Meets World. Each episode of our show, we run parallel with an episode of Boy Meets World where we will examine the show,
That's way too much.
what happens, you know, our life, how it relates to it, experiences.
I can't believe you're still recording.
I am recording this. Check it out, guys. You'll get some hilarious stories from me and Steven from our childhood. You'll get a great... I lost it.
Alright, so we'll go into the random facts that we have for this episode. Eminem and Lifesaver turned Seinfeld down when looking for a candy to use in the famous Junior Mint episode. I remember that episode. And actually, I love Junior Mints.
Yeah. I like them too. I don't hate... I like Andy's mints too, though. Those are the
Me
ones that I
too.
like.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of, like, movie theater. Typically, it's Junior
Oh, yeah,
Mints
that's
that they
true.
have.
Yep.
And I think that was what the episode... Like, they were at the movie theater. Jerry Seinfeld has made more than $400 million from syndication of Seinfeld since the final episode. I believe that. It's everywhere.
I thought that was amazing, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a really good show. And, God, I cannot even think of all of the channels that I remember watching it.
Right. It's on
On-
every channel, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, and I'm sure he does other things, right? I'm sure he still did stand-up. I don't know if he does it anymore.
He does stand-up, and then he does that, I don't know if it's a Netflix special or what it is, but where he talks to other celebrities in the car.
That's
like,
right,
they just drive around and talk. It's a pretty cool concept. Throughout Seinfeld's run, the chance to sit in the first booth at Monk's Cafe and be included in a scene was auctioned off for charity. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Anything that you do for charity, great. Claire, the waitress in the pilot, was supposed to be the female character on the show. And I don't want to, like, jump the gun and say, oh, well, I'm glad that didn't happen, because I'm sure that actress would have done an adequate job. But you just don't know anything different than Elaine.
Yeah.
The parking garage episode had an unintentional ending. The car was supposed to start, but when they tried to turn it on, it stalled. And Dreyfus and Alexander, you can actually see their heads bobbing in the back seat where they're laughing because they didn't know that was going to happen. It just made that episode so much better.
Yeah, it was, like, realistic
in
that moment. They're like, oh, their reactions.
Jerry Seinfeld wanted to make a fat joke at Elaine's expense because Dreyfus was pregnant in real life, which led to her crying, so the joke never made the cut.
Oh my gosh.
Jerry Seinfeld, what were you thinking? Men just don't know, though.
But she's so skinny, though, so I feel like it's not
I
that
know,
big.
but I think that was probably his thought, was, well, she's pregnant and not actually fat, so it's funny. But
right.
A pregnant woman feels fat, and men don't know that.
Yeah.
They don't understand, so...
And it could go either way. She could think it was really funny, or she could cry.
And,
she did.
hormones.
Yeah,
Maybe she
exactly.
wouldn't have actually cried if she wasn't, I was very emotional when I was pregnant.
I was perfectly sane the entire time.
Yeah?
Both times. No.
You damn liar.
I'm just kidding. I was crazy.
Some episodes never got filmed. One involving a bet on how easy it was to get a gun was one of the episodes that never aired. And I put, as a side note on this, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia basically did that episode.
No, I never saw that. So,
Yeah.
Was it funny?
I did.
It
they
was
make
pretty
it funny?
funny. So that episode basically had Charlie and Mac said that it was hard to get a gun, and Dee and Dennis said that it was easy to get a
Right,
gun,
that's
and so each were trying to prove the other wrong. But Dee and Dennis tried so hard to get a gun and couldn't, and Charlie and Mac, like they were just having guns handed to them. So basically, they were proving each other wrong. It was a pretty funny episode.
Don't they end up shooting one of their,
I'm
group?
sure that they do.
One of the guys in the little friend group ends up shooting another one, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, see, you always got to end it on, it can get crazy, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how they took it, how they went with that.
Yeah, I really liked it too, and I think that Seinfeld probably would have done something similar where it's showing both sides of it. No side is completely right or completely wrong.
I feel like they could have spun it in a funny way, too,
Yeah. But it's more network TV, whereas It's Always Sunny is cable.
Right.
So they can get away with more. The plot in the pothole episode where Jerry dropped his girlfriend's toothbrush in the toilet and she uses it before he can tell her was based on a true story. It happened to one of the writers.
That's
Disgusting.
horrible.
It is horrible, but he basically put that into the episode after he had married the woman and was like, that's based on us.
Oh my gosh. That kind of reminds me of the episode of How I Met Your Mother when Lily and Marshall and Ted all find out they've been using the same toothbrush
Oh my
between
god,
the three of
that'd
them.
be horrible. Somebody has used my toothbrush before, and I was mortified. I don't know about you guys, but that is a big no-no for me.
Me and Chad used the same toothbrush in Costa Rica because they lost our luggage and we only wanted to buy one because they were
Right.
expensive.
Okay, that's an exception. I would do that. I probably would
I don't
do that.
know.
To
I
save
don't
a
even
couple
like my
bucks.
toothbrush touching anybody else's.
Yeah, totally. Me too. I hate it.
Which, like, I'm weird about teeth stuff, but, like, it's your
Yeah.
spouse.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
swapping spit with them
I
anyway.
agree. I'm still weird, though.
George's wardrobe was always one size too small to enhance the image of him being annoyed.
Who is it, George?
Yeah, I think that's
yeah,
ingenious.
I could see that. That is a good idea, because when he gets all spazzed out, it's like he looks really spazzed out.
George's fiancée Susan was killed off of the show because nobody on the show could stand her.
Really?
Oh
Like
my
in real life, they
gosh.
couldn't stand working with her?
In real life, like, apparently
Wow.
the actress was a difficult actress, and so they couldn't work with her.
I guess I could see that in that person.
Yeah, like,
I
that
guess.
was not supposed to happen, but... And that was the
Sucks.
famous... She was licking the envelopes for their wedding
Yeah.
invitations, and they were coated with anthrax, I think.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
They're meant for licking. It's like, what?
She never really bothered me.
No, and I don't think it was the character.
But, I mean,
right, on the show.
I
it
didn't
wasn't
work with
really-
her, so.
The audience wasn't allowed to clap for Kramer's entrance because it disrupted the flow of the filming.
Yeah, they liked him too much.
I wouldn't be allowed to be in the audience.
Right, I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
killing it.
NBC had to apologize for Kramer burning the Puerto Rican flag. Imagine that. I don't know, like, why you would think burning a flag would be appropriate in any scenario.
Yeah, like, regardless of the country.
Kelly, so this story goes back to one of our conversations we had in a previous episode regarding Roseanne Barr.
Oh my
So
gosh.
apparently there was a feud between the cast and crew of Roseanne and Seinfeld. And it all stemmed from Julia Louis-Dreyfus parking in what was Tom Arnold's spot on the set. And she got a really nasty note calling her, it was like, find your own parking spot, asshole, or something along those lines, that he left. And it just started this entire feud. And it says that at one point, Dreyfus received a Polaroid of a buttocks and a bar of soap with the C word carved into it.
Those are both funny things, but, I mean, is it really that big of a deal that she parked in
I
your
know.
spot?
I think that part of it probably comes from, like, and I mean, Roseanne was a stand-up too, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that she always felt like an outsider in Hollywood, so maybe she took it as a slight, like, these people aren't as good as us. I don't know. But basically, Larry David just basically had everybody not feed into it anymore, and so it died, which is the best thing to do.
Yeah,
especially with
exactly. Best
Roseanne
thing to
Barr,
do.
because we know how
Yeah.
she is. She's not going to let it go.
She's not gonna let it go. Right.
She doesn't
don't
care.
care. Yeah,
No.
you're right.
So the last random fact that I have for you, I thought that this was really interesting, was Jerry Seinfeld turned down crazy amounts of money over his obsession with the number 9. So apparently he had this really weird thing with the number 9, and there were a whole bunch of examples. I didn't write them all down. I really should have. But basically he wanted the show to end on the 9th season, and no matter how much money NBC threw at him, he would not do it.
That is insane.
It is insane, but I also give him credit. You know, he stuck to his guns.
Yeah, totally.
He knew
Stuck
how he
to his
wanted it.
guns,
Yeah.
really.
And no amount of money was going to change that, and I think that's great.
Yeah, he stuck to his principle on that one.
Just like my boyfriend, Dan Levy.
Yep. Yeah, Kelly found out today. This is breaking news. It won't be for you guys by the time this is edited and put out there. But
I mean,
that,
it's good and bad news.
right. Schitt's Creek is going to end after its 6th season. So,
But that's good because that's what they planned on, and that way it won't go downhill.
Yep.
That's true. Because you
Just a lot
know,
of shows do.
some shows should have ended a long time ago.
Yep, we
Yeah.
talked about that on our Patreon Q&A. So, Kelly, do you want to take over and read the polls and social media comments?
Yeah, first I have some little trivia questions for you
Oh,
guys.
yeah, I forgot.
Trivia.
So, I will ask you each one, and then if you don't get it, we'll pass to the other person.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Laura, in the Soup Nazi, Jerry and his girlfriend Sheila playfully call each other what syrupy sweet nickname?
Oh, man. I was actually going to bring this up earlier. It is so annoying, and they keep calling each other Schmoopy.
Yep.
It's like, what the hell?
Okay, Brittany, to whom does the Soup Nazi say you are the only one who understands me?
Kramer.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I told
His
you
buddy.
guys these were going to be easy because we just watched them.
Yeah.
Laura, to whom is Kramer referring when he tells Elaine he just happens to be a little eccentric? Most geniuses are.
I'm assuming it's Kramer. I don't remember this one.
Kramer says it.
Oh, Kramer's the one that says it. I don't know.
It's the Soup Nazi.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
He's like, oh yeah, I remember now. He's like, most geniuses are.
Okay, the Soup Nazi bans Elaine from his soup stand for a year when Elaine tells him he looks like what actor?
Al Pacino.
Yes. And Laura, in the Hamptons, what two people are both described by the pediatrician as breathtaking?
How could I forget? Elaine and the baby.
Yep. Good job. You guys did good. If I would have asked random ones, though, it probably would have been harder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd have been like, uh-oh.
So we had a poll that was, what is your favorite episode out of these top episodes? And it was 47% the Chinese restaurant, 27% the Hamptons, 20% the contest, which I actually watched, and 6% the butter shave, which that was a good one too.
That is a good one.
Before we do the social media shout outs, I just want to shout out to Kara Greer because she is our second Patreon supporter.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Yes, and you are going to be getting a sticker and a set of earbuds for your wait on our March Q&A posting.
Yeah, because Brittany feels bad that we had no content.
Well, it's great that people were like, oh, they have a Patreon, we're gonna, donate right away. But then we didn't have anything out there, and March is almost over. So yeah, I feel like it's only fair.
All right.
That is awesome you guys have Patreons.
It is pretty awesome, but we know both of the people.
Still,
Well,
that's
so
pretty
far-
awesome.
It is still good. Okay, so social media, we had a podcast about something said, shameless plug, we just recorded an episode about the best moment from each character that posts on Monday. And then there's a gif of George's dad saying, and now you're going to hear about it. Super Media Bros, which are our friends that are on our network, they posted a gif that says, it's George, and he says, I was in the pool.
Yeah, they also posted that image of George's dad.
Oh, they did. That's funny.
Yeah, because that is Festivus. That was that episode. Everybody loves that.
Oh, yeah.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna hear about it.
Okay, Tennis Podcast, which you should listen to their podcast also.
Yes.
They said when George sleeps under his desk at work, and they sent a picture of George under his desk on the phone. And Welcome to My Show said Coming from a non-church going family, we always enjoy airing our grievances around the Festivus poll every holiday season. Traditionally, we always started off with, I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it.
You have to, right? You gotta start it like that.
And Black Case Diaries said that their favorite moment is when Kramer becomes movie phone. Why don't you just tell me the name of the movie you selected? That is also a great episode.
That is a good one.
Lauren H. Logan says her faves are Elaine's dance moves, Jerry subs for Newman, shower lettuce, and Elaine's parallel world friends.
Yeah, which Elaine's dance moves, the little kicks, that's
great.
one of my favorite moments too. And actually, I guess that Larry David didn't want to do that. I think that that's what I read. He didn't want Dreyfus to do that scene because he thought it would ruin her career for some reason. I guess it's kind of like the Carlton dance.
Yeah. I mean, she's still doing stuff now.
Oh man,
Right.
Veep, if you guys have not watched Veep, you gotta watch that show. It is so funny.
What's
Yeah,
it
I
on?
haven't
Is it on
watched
Hulu?
It's on Amazon.
Is it?
It's on Amazon. It airs on HBO. It's an HBO show.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh,
And-
okay.
Yeah, the last season was postponed because of her breast cancer. But
Oh, no.
I think that they're filming again now.
Is she okay? I'm just saying
Yeah,
that. Just to say that. I know she's okay now, but I feel like that should be like a game.
That in every episode, Kelly wants
Yeah.
to know if someone's okay.
I'm just really concerned about people.
It's a good thing, though.
Amanda Martin said the pirate shirt, which I'm wearing mine right now. And Sean Faust sent a gift.
A gift.
My bad. A gift. And it is Charlie Day from Always Sunny dressed as Kramer in Jerry's kitchen saying, I'm out.
And I didn't put two and two together. Like, we just talked about the random fact where basically It's Always Sunny picked up that episode from Seinfeld. So I think that that's cool. Maybe that was an intentional thing.
Yeah, maybe they probably got a lot of inspiration from them.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely could have been.
So, yeah, before we go, I want to thank Laura for joining us, especially this late and after work.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to get you on here at some point, so I was glad that you were such a Seinfeld fan.
Yeah, Seinfeld, I have watched it ever since I can remember, really. Since I was a kid.
So, as always, you guys can find us on Twitter and on Facebook at the Faves of Our L1. That's at the Faves of Our L and the number 1. We also now have an email account. It's the Faves of Our Lives at gmail.com. You can always email us on there if you want to talk specifically about things. If you have any feedback, we're always willing to take your feedback. And we also have a Patreon, so you guys can go on there and search for us on that. If you want to get some exclusive content, we have some Q&As on there. I'm going to be posting some stories about my grandma Joy, who I think that this is the first episode I have not mentioned her in.
Now you did.
Now I mentioned her.
And we're going to post our baby pics,
Yeah,
too.
we'll post some baby pictures. Some of the tiers that you donate, you can get stickers, you can get earbuds. We also have t-shirts. So, yeah, you can head over there. We will sell those individually. If you guys are interested, you can shoot us an email or DM us on Twitter or Facebook. So, the next episode that we're going to be doing is Friends.
Ooh.
We're going to have Abby back. You guys remember Abby from the I Love Lucy
Yay,
episode.
Abby.
She's going to come back. So I'm excited about that episode. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've already got a lot of feedback from you guys, or input back from you guys on your favorite
you guys
moments
had
and
to do
stuff.
Friends, so
Yeah. So, yeah, that will be coming soon. So thank you guys for listening, and thanks again, Laura.
thanks.
Thanks.
All right. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye. Say bye.
Bye.